Hello, Abigail here with the Tarotscopes for Cancer season, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. My Sagittarians, this Cancer season is an interesting one. We have some of the best astrology of 2025. We have Uranus going into Gemini, which is a really bombastic shift. There's just a lot going on. I do have a longer video, kind of a companion video to this, which is the astrology of Cancer season, so please check that out if you want to know more about that. I will be sprinkling in astrological advice in here, but this is to focus on the cards. So, I just want to say this because you do have some tense cards in here. And this season has really been a mixed bag. I'm halfway through the readings for this. I do them in order from the season we're starting at. So you are number 6. But it's really important to kind of note, I like to note the progression of the cards and kind of the quality of the reading. And a lot of times the readings follow like a similar vibe. And this one, we're getting a lot of highs and lows, some extremely kind of like positive and goal reaching readings, and then some like struggle processing readings. This one has a bit of struggle in it, I'm not going to lie. But I want you to remember that there is a full wheel in your chart. So if you have a Sagittarius rising, you're going to experience this kind of tension here, which it makes sense. You are in a square to the nodes right now, the nodes of the eclipse nodes, lunar nodes, so it can make things spicier. But I will remind you that there are other parts of your chart. So go read your sun, moon, or your rising. If you have a Sagittarius stellium, it might be a bit tense in Cancer season, whereas for other people, it's going to be a bit more relieving. But yeah, it's not doom and gloom. It's just not fully positive. Your bestie in this kind of tension is Libra. Libra had a really tense reading. So let's get into it. I don't mean to put you off or make you feel bad about it. But I do want you to know that look at this as that specific section of your chart. Go look at what is in Sagittarius if you're watching this and gain what, for instance, my chart is in the 4th house. So stuff at home. So let's say that I'm watching this because I have my North Node in Sagittarius. My North Node stuff is going to be a bit sticky this season. However, my Virgo stuff was kind of a mixed bag of like positive, and I also have a Taurus sun, which had a lot of stuff about wish fulfillment. So it's a panorama and patchwork quilt. Don't see this as like, wow, my Cancer season's going to suck. That new moon is still, that new moon on 25th of Cancer, which is really great, is still going to be really great. It's just not like the Scorpios who had wish come true, gift granted type vibes. And starting off with that, speaking of which, yours is enchantment. Use your words consciously. And what this really tells me is that I think you're going to be really affected by the Mercury retrograde that happens at the end of this month. And we're in the pre-shadow for most of Cancer season. So it feels as though a lot of stuff and that retrograde is enshrined to you. So it feels like you're going to be dealing with a lot with that retrograde. It makes me wonder if you're not going to get hit early with retrograde themes. Bright side, that means you'll get to unravel them sooner on the other side. So, everything comes with a blessing and a bit of a sticky wicket, as it were. So use your words consciously. I really do think it is time to kind of think about stuff before you speak. A lot of my Sagittarians tend to mouth off a lot, which I find hilarious. But I think in this season, taking things a little slower, maybe going into a bit of a more quiet space. Also, even before I shuffled the cards, the Hermit flew out of the desk. So I do think that a lot of the stickiness of this season isn't necessarily the situation itself. It's the fact that you have to be alone. And I do know Sagittarians who love to be alone. One of my best friends is Sagittarius, and they have like a deep desire to constantly be doing stuff, and then are also deeply introverted at the same time. So this time your introverted side is going to get all of the help, and your extroverted side is going to feel probably a little bit lonely. We do have the Hermit. It is the card of the year. This journey has not been easy, and a lot of it feels really lonely. And it's a reminder not to give up hope. It's also a reminder that we are halfway through 2025. So whatever this is, we're halfway through it. No going back, because we'll just be retracing our steps at some point. So this is a season, and this Cancer season, I think, is a time to consciously not isolate yourself, but to consciously give yourself alone time. To consciously give yourself time to sit with yourself and to sit with your mind. I think one of my few critiques of Sagittarius is kind of the inability to sit with things. the desire to constantly be moving, that kind of can create a buildup of unprocessed feelings. And I do really think Cancer season is about processing feelings. It's about processing what you want and what you need. Enchantment, your card, is really about alchemizing what you want and need and with your words. And so I want you to be really conscious about what you're speaking into existence this Cancer season. Also, I think it is with the cards here, it's about telling a story that is different from the story that you have been told. It's about reprocessing and reprogramming your belief around your life story. And this is coming from someone who has a lot of mythologies around their existence. A mythology doesn't mean it's not true, but it does mean that we can fall into cycles of belief based on experience that may not be completely true. For instance, the story that I have for myself a lot is that I never get anything without help. And I work my ass off. But it does often happen that I don't get anything until I get a referral or someone steps in or someone does something in order to open a door for me. It doesn't mean that I should stop opening doors. And so I would encourage you to look and see what are the stories and the things that I repeatedly tell myself that aren't necessarily bad, but they are kind of creating their own ecosystem of existence. Um, and why do I think this is important? Because we do have Five of Cups. There's a lot of grief in Cancer season for you. There's a lot of processing loss and the stories that have happened and the people who have betrayed us or abandoned us, and left us to grieve on our own. Um, Definitely check where Sagittarius is in your chart to find out what kind of grief we're dealing with. Are we dealing with familial grief? Are we dealing with romantic grief? Are we dealing with grief around situations that have happened to us in life? Are we dealing with grief around home, aka fourth house, like mine? What are you processing and what can you allow yourself to process in order to really sit in this hermit moment? And also in order to make the words that you put out into the world a little more effective. Because when we are filled with grief, and I'm not saying grieving, I'm saying grief that has been unprocessed, it really does taint the way we see the world. Emotional regulation isn't finding stasis. It's about being able to swing between the extremes of emotions and feelings and really understand who we are and what we need within the context of the pain and the sadness we have experienced. So let yourself sit with yourself this Cancer season. And I'll tell you this, if you are overwhelmed and exhausted with everything that's happening, because you have a lot of kind of grief cards in here, not a lot, but you have enough to make me want to say this to you. If you have a lot of grief cards in here, I would really encourage, because of this, for you to sit with yourself during this new moon, but especially during the full moon in July, to really access that Capricorn part of your chart and really let some of that sediment wash away with your tears. Really allow that buildup to pour out of you so that you have space for new stuff when we hit Leo season and when we get done with the Mercury retrograde, which they tend to clean house. So we want there to be space for the stuff that you truly need on the other side. And then moving on, why am I talking about clearing? Eight of Cups. This is about walking away from things. This is about letting stuff go. This is about recognizing the cycle and the process of grief and of release. I love that there is the moon cycle within this card in the specific deck. It is about the story and the fact that, everything is a cycle. Our happiness is a cycle, our grief is a cycle, our relationships are cycles. And learning how to relieve it. I'm actually a voice teacher and I teach singing and stuff. And something that can happen when people start singing is they kind of forget how to breathe a little bit, because your body is now being taught to consciously do a lot of subconscious stuff. And people can store dead air if they don't exhale correctly. And I really think this is about, in a weird way, teaching yourself how to breathe again. Teaching yourself how to not hold that carbon dioxide in your lungs. And to release it. Because what happens is if you never fully exhale is you're just layering dead air in your body. And you're going to feel full, but you're not going to actually have life-giving stuff. So this is that time to just all of it out. Cancer season is really a long exhale for you. And I think while some people are going to be fairly energized by it, don't be disheartened that you don't feel that way. There's a really big karmic process happening within this square to the nodes in Gemini and Sagittarius. Um, a lot of it came up during Gemini season, so be aware that those themes are going to be popping off. Um, but yeah, don't be disheartened. This is preparation for the stuff that you need, and this is making space that you don't currently have right now. And then we do have this card, which I love, which Scorpio actually had as well. I'm pretty for sure same position too. Um, King of Pentacles. You know, while you are releasing and letting everything go, there are things that you have built and that are really secure and stable. Hold on to those. Really hang tight. This is also a time, while you're grieving and changing and shifting, doesn't mean you don't have to have boundaries. Doesn't mean you're letting people in who have hurt you or who are not essential to your happiness. Maintain firm boundaries while clearing house. Maintain openness while having those boundaries. Only people who want to break in and steal are mad about locks. You know, all you have to do is ask permission and someone can give you the key, you know? So, no one who actually genuinely cares for and loves you is going to be upset about a boundary. Now, maybe they might get hurt with their own trauma to be like, wow, I didn't know I needed to have boundaries set around me, but they will understand and appreciate what you need. So, just a warning, especially with that retrograde coming up, to stick to thine guns. Also, don't forget that Mercury is detriment in Sagittarius. So you have a different relationship with Mercury than a lot of people do. So don't expect the way that you do words to be the same as everyone else. This is just about being a little more selective this season. It's not about changing the way you communicate. And last but not least, we do have the Hanged One. And with this card, it does feel like Cancer season feels like a holding pattern. It's not actually a holding pattern. It is kind of in a way, but it is you taking a moment to really settle and touch base with yourself in order to move forward, which is this kind of consensual stasis. It appears more like stasis on the outside. On the inside, you're doing a lot of work, but on the outside and in your life, it's going to feel like a lot of stuff is on pause. It is so that you can clear stuff, so that you have space for everything that is going to be coming in for you after this. So be really excited about what's coming. I do think end of Leo season is probably where you're going to see it after that Mercury retrograde's over and we get on that post-shadow journey, which I'm pretty for sure should happen. We should be mostly through the post-shadow period by the end of Leo season. So look forward to Virgo season being a bit more open. Also, those eclipses in Virgo season are going to pop off. So it feels very much like the eclipses are kind of your portal right now, and whereas they might be really stressful and upsetting to a lot of people, I think for you, especially the Virgo Pisces eclipse in the fall, are going to really be the moments where you step through a door that was previously closed to you. All right, my loves, that is my reading. I hopefully struck a good balance between comfort and reality. Sometimes I try to soften corners too much, and then sometimes I'm a little bit too blunt. So hopefully I struck a good balance. Anyways, if you like my stuff, please like and subscribe. It makes my day, gives me a little more visibility. Speaking of needing people to do things for me. I really wish you a blessed Cancer season. Really sit with your feelings. I know it's hard for a lot of my Sagittarian friends to slow down, but with Jupiter and Cancer, you have that really tender rulership going on, and it's going to be a great safe space for you to do these things. Anyways, blessed Cancer season, and I will see you in a different space.